Everybody called me, right? I've been, nobody's called until,
Exactly.
see if you can talk into that mic kind of or not, or
Testing 1, 2. Hello, anybody there?
So here's the comments. You can just take your two fingers and scroll through these comments right there. Did you read any of those?
Yeah, I got to start.
You scroll up and make it go up.
Yeah. Great. Is this thing on? I don't know. Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Shit. Oh, that son of a bitch works. Anybody hear me? Well, I can't see anyway. Yeah, I'm scrolling up. I'm scrolling up. Now it's scrolled off the goddamn thing. Point your camera down. Yeah, right. This is great. I don't know. This thing on? I don't know. It says you're on. Why do I go all the way to the top? Audio and video is good. So I have no idea if point your camera down. Yeah, right. I know how to fucking do this. You're on. You're killing it. Prime Lives, you're on. You know, I should just waste my time, wasting your time, wasting everybody's time. I give. The peeps, you are on. I am on. Okay. I scroll up. What happens? Nothing. I scroll down. Jesus Christ. Where are you today? No fucking idea. Greatest in many, many months. Yeah. I give. Yeah, give me a computer. Yeah, this scrolls you up. Yeah, well, where does it start at? Yeah, this was great. Awesome. I'm on fire. It's the best show today. John Tucker just gave me $2. The wrestlers often change in the car. I guess he was late for the goddamn town or whatever he had to. I guess you should have left earlier. Are you okay, Rip? Hell no, am I okay? I'll walk in here. Shit. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll never do this shit again. That's for damn sure. Take this motherfucking computer, stick this sumbitch up your ass. Oh, yeah. God damn. Let me see here. Says it's on live. Scroll this up. I am, and it goes off to the fucking top of the building. Never seen a better show. Got this? Yeah. Ever wrestled Dynamite Kid? Shit, the most evil motherfucker in the history of fucking wrestling. Biggest fucking asshole in the history of fucking wrestling. I guess he took too many goddamn steroids. Oh. Young Mighty Joe says, Rip, were you in OVW when Marty Wright made his debut as the Boogeyman? I remember being around there, but then the bell rang, so it didn't make any difference. John Tucker says, what's your thoughts on Gorgeous George? Now, the original Gorgeous George? I guess if you're talking George Wagner, hell, I wasn't around when he was working. Just tell a story. You're awesome. Yeah, I am fucking awesome. I might as well start out with this shit now. Say, fuck this. I'm going to take my goddamn fucking jacket off. What was the best outlaw company you ever worked for? Outlaw company? Well, what the fuck? Oh, let's see. I guess you should know how to scroll this thing down or whatever. Now, what are your thoughts on Gorgeous George? Gorgeous George is dead. If you're talking about that blonde girlfriend Randy Savage used to bang, she's irrelevant. It's just the same thing. If some girl hooks up with a guy because she's wrestling, and all of a sudden she thinks she's goddamn over. Get real. Just a girl. Girl, get you a boob job. Do your nails. Don't be fat, and bleach your hair blonde or whatever. You have a Disco Kid outfit. I never had a Disco Kid outfit to begin with. I just had hand-me-downs on. Tell some Jamie Dundee stories. That's what Paul Shaw says. Hell, I don't know if you can hear me to begin with. Oh, any memories of the Dream Machine, Troy Graham? I was with Troy Hippie Graham. I was with him in Mississippi, and he was always imitating Dusty Rhodes and telling stories and shit. He'd always say, "I got a lot on me," but he would he'd always train at the gym at night. So this and that. Rip working heel today. Okay. Yeah, well, Troy Graham, he was he worked with the hood on. Shit, I can't read none of this shit. I can't even see somebody. It's my glasses. Did I ever wrestle a Masked Superstar? You mean Bill Eadie? Now, Bill Eadie was one of the nicest guys in the world. And when I went to Global in '91, he was give the finishes and stuff. He's a nice guy, great worker. He was a school teacher just like me. I bet he knew how to do a computer, though. I didn't know how to. You ever work in Rhode Island and Massachusetts? Jordan Raposa says, no, never worked in Rhode Island or Massachusetts. Who did it best, Disco Kid or Disco Inferno? Hell, probably Disco Inferno. I think I was the worst wrestler in the history of wrestling. Ever work with a grappler? Shane Park says, yeah, I worked with Lynn Denton before, and he was let's see. Hey, Shane Park, come up to $3 super sticker, baby. Memphis born, Memphis bred, and when I die, I'll be Memphis dead. Dream Machine. Troy Graham, Troy T. Tyler, Hippie Graham. Can you tell us about the Cartel and Global? Okay, the Cartel and Global, all of a sudden, Joe Pedicino says, I'm with the Cartel and Global. So it was Raven, Cactus Jack, me, and Muck and Sing. I've been with Muck and Sing in Calgary. He was in Calgary about 9 years. Then he became Norman the Lunatic, and I don't know I don't know how many other different characters. But he could always move well for a big man. He took too many bumps, but he was too busy putting Owen Hart over all the time. And Owen weighed about 200 pounds of that, and Mike was about twice as big as that. Other things just boom, skipping around. Ever work with Kerry Von Erich? I worked with, I worked a half hour, a 30-minute Broadway with Kerry Von Erich in Puerto Rico. And the good rib about that, he says, first of all, there was a fight going on in the stand, so everybody's turning around watching that. So Kerry said, hey, what do you want to do? I said, just sit here. I'll pull you down by the hair, and you just sit here, and we'll all look at the stands too and see who wins, and we'll start cheering for them or whatever. Kerry said, hey, this would be a spot when I pull my boot off. So I didn't say no, let's just, well, we don't need that high spot. So so we didn't do that high spot. Jordan Raposa says, can we get an hour just global stories? Not many people talk about Global or Joe Pedicino like that. What was your favorite food on the road? The famous food on the road was anything you could get. An hour of global stories. Shit. I remember going into Global. Shit, I used to go home to Seymour, Indiana, in my house. All of a sudden, there'd be a plane ticket on the door, and I had to get they'd fly you in. You'd get there for the show. And then as they went through all the first sponsor's money or whatever, then all of a sudden, you didn't get a plane ticket no more, so I quit going. I wasn't going to drive whatever it was to go to Texas to at the old Sportatorium to the Global Dome to wrestle. I think the highlight of the Global was when we had the legendary Lightning Kid's 18th birthday party. That was good. Let's see. That was the first place where I met Cactus Jack. Let's see. Being with Mike, and then first time I met Raven. Scotty the Body Anthony, or I think he was Scotty the Body Anthony there, whatever it was. George Lambert says he misses Blondie Blackstone. He must have had a little hot sexual thing for each other, FaceTiming each other, doing whatever. Or maybe George just got out the Just OnlyFans thing and he's the masked grandpa or something like that. I always thought I'd put the hood on and be the masked grandpa and have a little hole in there and just, the tongue could be going through there. Harvey Dioda's podcast said at WC Butterman, you turned the crowd and said, give him a break, he's green. I don't remember that. What do you think of Raven? Raven was out there. He was his own man. He told me he used to watch me when I think he was from West Palm Beach or something like that. He said he used to go to the matches as a mark or whatever. So, but he's open with me because he worked with Don Owens in Don Owen, the Pacific Northwest. George is still missing Bonnie Blackstone. He must have had some things on his mind about that. Let me scroll this thing a little bit. Let's see. What do you think? Well, any Mike Boyette stories? No Mike Boyette stories. He was always working down in the Pensacola area. I heard a lot of stories, but I don't want to repeat them because whatever you've heard, somebody else has changed them and somebody else has changed them. And thoughts on Dynamite Kid and his fight with Jacques Rougeau. Well, I worked the whole lot with Jacques, and he was a second generation wrestler. And Dynamite was a bully. He was an asshole. Jacques was God, this now thing's going on fire. Hal was riding with Chris Cole. Chris Cole rode with me. I didn't ride with Chris Cole. I wouldn't get in the car with with Chris Cole. That boy was nuts. Rip, you need an Outrunners fanny pack. Stephen Keys, well, why don't you buy me an Outrunners fan pack or just send me money so I can get me a new fanny pack? Isn't it amazing how the Outrunners had worked for years and years? And Randy used to teach my class at OVW because I would be the teacher, but I would have somebody demonstrate where I could be outside the ring so you could see everybody. Because if not, the guys, they'd be goofing off, laughing or whatever. And then they were, that was just that. But the Outrunners, they did all their time in this business. They was at OVW for a long time. Then all of a sudden, they started going to Tony Khan's place, AEW. Now they're the hottest thing they got because most of the guys that they made stars weren't star material to begin with. Italian said, Arn Anderson told me he rode with you. Yeah, when we was in Pensacola, Arn usually rode with me. That was good times, 83 and 84 in Pensacola. I think he lived with Scotty Armstrong. Did you go to Jackson, Tennessee for the Hall of Fame induction for Memphis wrestlers? No, I didn't go. Have you ever had Tommy Young a ref in the matches? Yeah. I like my refs to be not noticeable. It's like basketball refs that want to be a star and they want to over exaggerate and everything. Tommy was a good ref. But the fans started looking at him as a star, and the wrestlers not as a star. Let's see. Did you help train Elijah Burke at all? Oh, I had Elijah at OVW. Let's just say he was athletic. He had a very high opinion of himself. Sometimes too much, but some people like that. Look at George saying, who was the worst person, Adrian Adonis or Dynamite Kid? Well, boy, that was a good one. That's a good question. Adrian was a bully, and Adrian was an asshole, and Dynamite Kid was a bully, and he was an asshole. So that would be I guess that'd be a pretty good question. Adrian was bigger. Both of them ran into somebody that didn't like their shit, and they paid for it.
You figured it out, Rick?
Oh hell no!
You don't know how to scroll?
I scrolled this, and it goes up to the top, and then
Right there, boom. Yeah, look, you're at the bottom.
well, I don't fucking know.
You know what you're doing. Look at that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Smile, Rip. You're on candid camera.
Yeah. Now I'm not even. I'm just sitting here, and the thing's going up and going down on its own. This thing. I'm just sitting here, and all of a sudden, this thing goes boop boop.
Probably
boop.
because you got more questions coming in. So as the questions come in, it kicks them up.
I don't.
That's what it
fucking know.
does. Be my guess.
Who's Marva Scott? No clue. Which verse of the now it's moving again. Bobby Lopez said, I used to make the nasty boys look great. Well, somebody had to make them look great. Nobby had that tooth all knocked out.
Make you a coffee. Maybe that's true.
Yeah. Shane Park said, did I ever meet Kurt Hennig or wrestle him? Kurt Hennig was always ribbing everybody. I'll tell you that. Well, that's what happens when you're a second generation wrestler. Widowmaker 67 says, Ripper, how are you? Well, fuck, this is the greatest day of my motherfucking life. Can't you goddamn fucking tell? Who would be an underneath guy that should have been a name? Well, that's has how big was George Steele when you were standing next to him? I heard he was crazy strong. Hell, I don't know. I can't remember. He was a big guy. He was a football coach like me. I worked with him when the first time I went to WWF, and he put me in that crazy hammerlock, and he had the green shit in his mouth. He'd spit the mist and stuff. George Jetson said, did you hit the gym today, Rip? Fuck yeah, I've already been to the goddamn gym. You gotta, every day you gotta pee, you gotta poop, you gotta give yourself a wank, and you gotta go to the gym. That's some of the necessities of life. Bobby Lopez says, you remember Mike Thor? I remember as I'm fucking 70 years old and you can't remember shit. All of a sudden, you hear the guy's name and you can't put him with the face. And if you'd see him today anyway, hell, he's aged 40 years because I hadn't seen him in 30, 40 years. So what the fuck? Wouldn't make any difference.
You can talk, Rick. You can be loud. Get it.
Yeah.
There, you want some Von Lyland's birthday cake? Right there. How's it going out there today?
Oh, it's fucking great.
Why are you in such a bad mood for? Last time you did this by yourself, you were having a hog heaven. You got 30 people on there.
Well, last time I was just I was talking,
Well, talk.
and I was just doing shit. I didn't have this shit in front of me.
Well, you can talk and then.
No, what I was doing was I was just telling fucking stories.
Okay, so.
And I was gonna do some stuff like the time I was talking about. There's
well, do it. You can still do it.
Shit.
I just don't understand. Then tell a story. Like I don't understand. Or just fucking quit. I mean, goddamn, don't do it. Fucking turn it off.
I don't know how to turn it off.
Well, then just leave. I mean, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Why's making you do it?
I ever put Sherry, Frank's Pickle Barrel ass is here, and he said, "Did I ever put Sherry Martell in a rest hold?" Well, if I put her in that hold I wanted to give her, she wouldn't have been resting. Brad Armstrong story. Been gone 12 years today. Brad Armstrong had my greatest match I ever had with him for the first time. Just got in the ring with him, and he did everything right. Of course, he was an Armstrong, so he'd been schooled right. Bulla Bob taught him. Scotty's that way. Steve's that way. Now, Road Dogg, he's more of an entertainer. Brad was that serious wrestler. But all the Armstrongs were great in their own way. Bulla Bob never even touched it. He was great. Here I am eating Von Lilas's cake after going through shell shock.
Did you tell them it was my birthday, Rip? 51. I just turned 51.
Well, I tell him I was eating your birthday cake. Yeah.
51, man.
In the prime of life.
Hope everybody's sending me some birthday money today. Hey, sorry, I got to work. My wife made me work this Friday and the next 2 Fridays. I got Rip set up with the vet if he wants to do it the next 2 Fridays at 11 a.m. We'll have to get confirmation on this, but it's quite possible that Friday, November 8th, Friday the 15th, 11 a.m. Eastern, with the vet from Parts Unknown.
Wait unknown.
We'll be co-hosting.
He's gonna be
the next 2 Fridays, 11 a.m. Eastern.
He's gonna be hosting, not co-hosting. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna answer questions. That's great. Now the thing's disappeared, and now I got no questions.
Yeah, questions. I don't know where you want this cursor, but do what you want with it there.
Rip, everything in Texas is bigger, but how big were you in Mrs. Texas? You talking about Jacqueline? Mm-mm. Jacqueline was hottest girl wrestler of her era. She could beat up most of the guys too. Yeah, it's hard to do a show alone if you've never done it, unless you was just going to be had a list of things to do. I got nothing in front of me in a strange computer in a strange area. I said, "Oh, yeah, do that, right? I'll do that." If I was talking about territories or talking about different shit, that'd be one thing, or do where I knew what I was going to do. But I just walked in, boom. Uriah Todd said we're talking about tips. This is one of the most natural shows you've ever seen, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. I thought it was at 11 today. And I showed up and sat in the backyard for over an hour. And since he's got to be doing some shit on the phone upstairs, I didn't even get let in the door till after 12. So, have you ate any puss lately? If so, did it taste like pee? No, tastes like rotten fish. I had to fucking have a clothespin on my. If you didn't even know what a clothespin on my fucking nose, it smelled like rotten fish so bad. Paul Shaw says, "Talk. Just tell your cranky ass you're channeling your inner Ole Anderson." Shit, I used to get Ole Anderson laughing all the time because he was Mr. Mean all the time. And he'd just start laughing when he talked to me because he didn't want anybody to know he had a sense of humor. Big John Stud story. Big John, he always called everybody little man, no matter what. Oh. Coffee. But the Outrunners. Outrunners, now they're the big stars of AEW, get more reaction than anybody. And now what do? They got some girl they can't do nothing with. They don't, the Outrunners are the stars. Then they put some girl with them and they ain't got no choice. Now that takes away from the team. And then they got the FTR, who's a good team in themselves, but now they're getting the name off the Outrunners. So here we have Tony Khan getting the greatest find of his life in the Outrunners, and they have to give people the rub. Well, let the people give the rub, the ones you're paying all that goddamn money to, you founded your company with and everything. I tell you. The Outrunners know how to spin to win. They know what's going on. I guess they're supposed to get everybody in the company over. Let's get everybody in the company hanging out with the Outrunners, Turbo and Floyd, and they can get everybody over. Rip should manage the Outrunners. Yeah, that's what somebody wants to see. Another some 70-year-old guy that can't hardly fucking walk trying to get in the ring. That'd be good, Rib. I ain't putting myself through that. Was Screaming Baboon was asking me, was Bob Swaytan the stiffest prick you were ever in the ring with? I tell you, when he kicked me in the chest twice in Kansas City when I was doing jobs there, I never been kicked so hard in my life. He just like football punting me. Of course, I could tell he was a perv and whatever, or he just a heel, whatever. But yeah, I'd never been kicked that hard in my life. Jeff Moore said something. He writes JYD. Does that mean you want a JYD story? The first time I met JYD, he was a Sylvester Ritter or Big Daddy Ritter in 1977 when I went down to work for Nick Goulas the first time. And then the next time I see him, hell, he's a junkyard dog. He's the big star down in Louisiana. And he was the king down there. He was voted there like New Orleans and most greatest wrestler or whatever. The JMC. You ever eat booty, Rip? Well, hell, if you're a guy, every guy in the world should be licking girls' assholes. Yes. that's part of your prerequisite of being a man. You have to lick booty. You have to lick asshole. Stick your tongue up there as far as you can. Let's see. Jeff Moore says no. Why wasn't Pez as big as JYD? Well, you're looking at different television markets. Bill Watts had the best TV show in the nation. Pez was so talented as a babyface or a heel. But no matter how good you are or how bad you are, your push is determined by what the boss wants. The booker wants, the owner wants, or whatever. You could be the worst wrestler in the world, and if somebody likes you, you're the star. And that's it. A lot of times, the wrestling world is funny. A lot of the stars ain't worth the shit. And a lot of the guys that get squashed are better than the stars. Now, one thing is the stars, they can afford all the steroids they got. I can get right on here and tell you now. I was in 12 physique contests, guest posed to Mr. Puerto Rico. I didn't take steroids. Didn't have to. I just trained harder than everybody. But in the wrestling world, it's hard to be a good wrestler today. Why is it hard to be a good wrestler? Because you don't goddamn work. When you had territories, hell, you work 6-7 times a week. Now, all of a sudden, you're lucky to get 4 matches a month. And hopefully, the guy's better than you so that you can learn. So you could have 350 matches in a year with no problem. Now, shit. And when I was around, when I first started, the only wrestling schools I ever heard of was Vern Gagne's because it was kayfabe. And then I heard the stuff down at the Tampa Sportatorium. So when I was never trained. I just learned, got in the ring, shut up, picked everybody's brain. So like the first time I'd take a backdrop was in a match. The first time I slammed somebody, everything was in a match. It says low battery. My Mac will sleep soon unless plugged into a power outlet. So, whatever the hell that means. So, whatever. Mike, Uriah Starr said Mike Katz had a hell of a lat spread. Anybody that knows who Mike Katz was, means you're about my age, at least you're goddamn old. Mike Katz, he did have a hell of a lat spread. He didn't have much hair, but what the hell, right? The Screaming Baboon says, who is the most over opponent you ever been in the ring with? Who did the fans go absolutely hate show? When I was out in Portland, I was working with Roddy Piper. And Piper let me beat him. He wanted, I was in there for, I'd been there, left, come back, and come in for 21 days. I ended up losing a loser leave town match with Roddy Piper. But I beat him to lead into that. Let's see. How was Dog as Big Daddy Ritter? Well, whether he was the Junkyard Dog, Big Daddy River, it was the same old Sylvester Ritter. So it depends how you're projected by the promoter. Watts knew how to project him, and he made Junkyard Dog the biggest star they ever had in Louisiana. And Watts took care of Dog. Dog left and went to WWE after whatever it was at that time. But Bill Watts was the guy that made Sylvester Ritter the Junkyard Dog. Once he got away from Bill Watts, he wasn't protected anymore. And once he got away from Bill Watts, he just, let's just say, got into drugs and shit, which a lot of guys do, but that's true in any profession. If guys had money, they was going to spend it. Oh, Phil Hickerson asked me about any Phil Hickerson story. Phil's like a legend out of the Memphis territory. He had that great team years ago with Dennis Condrey, but Phil Hickerson's a good guy. Oh, let's see. My wife is wearing a Rip Rogers t-shirt. Well, you got my name spelled wrong, Frank Picklebarrel ass. And a thong at home. Just send me a picture at work. We're gonna go Broadway later. Well, are you gonna lead the match, or is she gonna lead the match? Frank's Picklebarrel ass. I'd like to see you two on Just OnlyFans thing. Do a little tag team action. That'd be good. Let's see. Italian says Greg Valentine tells a story of Stu Hart playing with cat's nuts with a pencil. Ever see it? No, I didn't see that, but they always had a lot of cats over at Stu's house. I remember that, but I never seen Stu playing with the cat's nuts with a pencil. Hell, if he was a real man, he'd just get down there and tickle the little cat's nuts and see what the hell's going on. Let's see. George says, would you rather shoot with Dick Slater, Stan Hansen, or Harley Race? I wouldn't shoot with none of them. I'll let you do it, George. I remember the time I was working for Ole Anderson, went with TV. You had me scheduled against Stan Hansen. I went up. I said, Ole, come here. I took a pen, magic marker, whatever, crossed my name out and wrote Ole Anderson against Stan Hansen. I said, fuck, I ain't getting there with him. He might hurt me. Not on purpose, because he's just a big old uncoordinated guy and his vision's not very good, and he might fucking accidentally kill me. So Ole just laughed and put some other goofball in there. The JM says, do you still train, Rip? I'm 70 motherfucking years old. What the fuck do you think? I train minimum of 3 to 4 hours a goddamn day. Of course, it might be an hour and a half to 2 hours of riding a bike, but I still train every day. Eat, sleep, drink, give yourself a wank, and train. That's the 5 big things you got to do in life. How many times did I bang Moolah? No, I never banged Moolah, but I guess if she had enough money, she could have rented me and she could have paid me. That's why I was hoping you'd point the camera down. Fuck, I don't know what that. Let's see. Did Rip do his tanning in Puerto Rico at the beach, pool, or tanning bed? I go to the beach. I lived about 300 yards from the beach. I was the last wrestler that was in that they left that was in the Panama Hotel. I remember when they had the Hurricane Hugo come through, and I had to go to the middle of the island. You ever get stiffed on payoffs in Puerto Rico? No, I never got stiffed. I told him, well, Carlos called me at home and had me. He said, "Could you come in here and help us with booking?" So I did that. So I said, well, I get my guarantee. If I don't get it, I'm out of here. So there's no sense to get mad about it. If you don't give me that the money promised me, that I'll be gone. So we never had any problems with stuff like that. And when I was a booker, that doesn't really mean anything because uh, they just want somebody else's. They're set in their ways, and they want to hear somebody else's opinion on something, and they might like it and said, "Okay, we like that. Let's go with that." Uh, I said, well, if you're used to doing it that way, and the fans are used to seeing it that way, I wouldn't be changing from them because you know how them crazy Puerto Ricans are. They'd start laughing. I said, they might have a riot 'cause something's different now. No, it's not the Panama. You're right. It's the Tanama Hotel. No matter what, and no matter what floor you were on there, you always had a bathroom. That's all it was. Screaming Baboon says, was Puerto Rican as dangerous as they say? Well, if you went about 2 blocks in towards the inner of the city, you're taking your life in your own hands. What's the advice you can give to a new wrestler? Well, McDonald's is hiring, and so is Amazon. So I would be getting a job there. The odds of you, okay, realistic, the odds of you making anything in the wrestling business is probably 0.001%. So that's all up to you. Yeah, the Tanimall was a lovely place. They called me the cat man there. I would be feeding the cats all the time. And I'd be walking down to the gym, Rolando Perez's gym. He was Mr. Puerto Rico, and I guest posed there at that show. But all the cats would be following me downtown. Let's see. Ever get stiffed by pay anywhere? Well, Ian Rotten stiffed me one time. So I come back with I had an ice pick and I said, well, here's your ring truck right here. Of course it wasn't his, but he was paying for it. I said, you can either give me the money you owe me, or I can just stick this ice pick and flatten all your tires. So he didn't want that to happen. So all of a sudden he he passed the hat from the boys so he could give me the money he owed me. So I'd worked a couple shows for Ian Rotten before, and he always had the money. At this particular time, don't know what, all of a sudden he didn't have it. But let's just say when I had the ice pick and whatever it is, he give me the money. So when you're promoting, I promoted shows for I don't know how many years. You're the promoter. You're the man that thinks, oh, I have to run shows. It's the most stressful thing you're ever going to do in your life. If you break even, you go, oh, all right, I broke even. If you lose money, you say, I'm never doing that shit again. Until a couple of weeks later, and you'll do it again. But always have your money and give it to the guys what they're guaranteed. So if no people show up, the guarantee you gave them, they gave it to them. And if you draw thousands and thousands of dollars, you don't have to bonus them. But I always did. But if you don't, no, you have to give them your guarantee. You're the one to play big shot promoter. So promotion, and they always get money marks for being a promoter because they think, oh, it's simple, it's easy. JMC says, what was your best payoff? You have different rules in wrestling, and that's one of the things you don't ask people. I don't ask you what you make at your job, and then most wrestlers, they'll just lie to you anyway. So it's irrelevant because most of the wrestlers, once you've been in it a while, you could be the straightest altar boy going to be a priest or whatever, by the time you're in the wrestling business a couple of years, you're about as much as a perv as you can get in the world, because wrestling mirrors the real goddamn fucking life. And I don't know a wrestler that doesn't change the story, exaggerate to you. Hell, it's like my grandpa. Hell, he walked to school 5 miles in 3 foot of snow every day, right? Then he had to walk home. Frank's pickle barrel asses, he's on fire today. Frank's pickle barrel asses, thank you for sharing your life with us marks. From the wrestling matches to the podcast today. So Frank's pickle barrel ass, he's calling you all a bunch of marks. Well, you are a bunch of marks, right? Well, everybody's a mark, whether you're a mark for baseball, basketball, football, titty bars. You're a mark for girls with a big ass. You're a mark for a young, attractive male or whatever. Everybody's a mark for something. So what the hell? The JMC says, what's the worst country you have wrestled in? Well, look at it this way. I wrestled in England, Austria, Germany, Japan, Korea, South Africa. South Africa, it wasn't too nice, but they try and hide stuff to make it. You're taken care of like it's a nice place, but a lot of places aren't. But it's whatever you like. Italian says, I'm a mark for a girl with a big ass. It's true. Well, she's probably a mark for your big hammer you got between the legs, or the way you talk dirty to her, or the way you get that magic tongue going. So, everybody likes certain things. Oh, the holiday shows always drew was to pay. Oh, years ago in the wrestling business, the best 2 days in wrestling was the Thanksgiving show and your Christmas night show or Christmas show. Christmas Eve, you didn't run it then. But a lot of times it's like when I worked for Fuller, we do double shows. Like we was in Knoxville and Birmingham, or then we was in Knoxville and something else or whatever. It'd be like you'd have a 2 p.m. show on Thanksgiving, and then you go back, then you drive 4 hours somewhere else, and you might be in another show that started at 8:30 at night. But you had them were your biggest paydays of the year. It was always like and then Christmas, you do the same thing: an afternoon Christmas show and a night show at night. So you get a double payoff, and they were always your best payoffs of the year for each town, because they were usually like standing room only and shit like that. So it was great. 4th of July was always horrible for wrestling unless you're having a 4th of July spectacular. And New Year's Eve was never a good night for wrestling. No, New Year's Eve was always a shit. Christmas Eve was shit. You didn't even try and run in because you knew you was going to lose. Any Tojo Yamamoto stories? Shane Parks is throwing at me. Let's see. Did you rub elbows with any pro bodybuilders? Well, let's see. Arnold and Lou Ferrigno, when I was in ICW at the Mr. Kentucky contest. Arnold guest posed, and then Lou Ferrigno guest posed. Arnold bought my picture for $29, or no, I bought his picture for $29. So then he bought my picture for $40. So he laughed about that. But that was cool. See, they come in and and Lou Ferrigno was on TV as the Incredible Hulk, so he was a big star. Arnold come in, he was just Arnold from Mr. Olympia, whatever this, and then they both had seminars too the separate years and stuff. But they was just normal guys talking, having a good time. We'd be talking about women and stuff like that. But what the hell, they got a dick too. But anyway, that was it with the pro bodybuilders that I knew. Tojo Yamamoto stories, as Nick Gula would say. Louisville wrestling fans, you're in the biggest whatever, in many, many months from the rough, tough team of Gypsy Joe and Tojo Yamamoto Tuesday night against Don and Al Green and Manchester Clements. Tojo in the studio with me now. Tell him what you're going to do to him, Tojo. Yes, Mr. Gula's hi, yeah, okay. Yeah, we've seen that act before. But when I ran shows at Seymour, yeah, Tojo got booked in, so he had a good time. And I paid him extra because I appreciated having the legend there in my hometown. Dorian Yates, slabs and slabs of muscle on that back. Let's see. Let's see if I can see how I can taking this up with this and that. I was telling a story about I was going to New York City and meeting Buddy Rogers. And well, really, I was down at